Today we're going to talk about laughter yoga, the science of breathing. Breathing is very fundamental to our life. We can live without water, we can live without food for several days, nothing will happen, you will not die. But if you don't breathe for a few minutes, you will be dead. That means there is something in the breath which makes us live. It's life-giving. And what's that? As a medical doctor, I see that it's oxygen. Oxygen is the most important component of all the enzymes in the cells which are responsible for metabolism. We are alive because there is an energy of life which flows through our body from the universal source, and it is called prana. So prana can be equated with oxygen. Both are life-giving. Now question is, how we can get more oxygen through laughter? Let's understand the physiology of breathing so that we can understand how can we get more oxygen through laughter yoga exercises and some of the breathing practices from yoga. For that, let's have a look at these graphs. Our lungs hold about 3 liters of air. That's the resting lung volume. With each breath, we inhale about 500 milliliter of air and same amount of air is exhaled. This is called tidal volume. Let's have a look at the next graph. After the normal breathing, we have the capacity to inhale with a deliberate conscious mind and fill up maximum amount of air into the lungs. And this is called inspiratory reserve volume. Whenever you are performing any activity, you are doing some work or you are jogging or you are running, you can make use of this inspiratory reserve volume. Our lungs have a large inspiratory reserve volume to the extent of 2.5 liter for an average adult. Let me show you how much is the inspiratory reserve volume. So I'm breathing to the maximum. More than tidal volume, which is 0.5 liters or 500 milliliter, I can inhale up to 2.5 liters of air. So that's my inspiratory reserve capacity. Let's have a look at the next graph. This is called expiratory reserve volume. So after exhalation, with a deliberate conscious effort, I can keep on blowing some air out of my lungs until I run out of breath. So this is called expiratory reserve volume. Just have a look. While I inhale and exhale, this is normal, and after that I can blow air out of my lungs. That means our lungs have extra air in the lungs which can be force exhaled if required. Let's have a look at the next graph. This is called vital capacity of the lung, which is very, very important. Now what is vital capacity? 500 milliliter of air which we inhale, tidal volume, inhale and exhale, that is normal quiet breathing. So over and above, if I inhale to the maximum like and keep on exhaling until I run out of the breath. So this is how I can inhale and exhale to the maximum, and this is called vital capacity or breathing capacity. Now vital capacity is very important. People who don't exercise, who live a very sedentary life, they don't use much inspiratory reserve and expiratory reserve. So they are not actually using their maximum breathing capacity. This is where they don't get much energy, they don't get much oxygen to their body. how laughter can help us get more oxygen, let us understand this vital capacity, different components of breathing. So I can inhale with my inspiratory muscles like diaphragm and intercostal muscles to the maximum. But you must know that there are no muscles of exhalation. Exhalation is very passive and it takes place by elastic recoil of the lungs. Our lungs are elastic organs. When we inflate them, they have a tendency to recoil back because of the elasticity, and this is how we exhale. So there are no muscles of exhalation. If I want to exhale longer, I must suck my abdominal muscles in and push my diaphragm up so that I can force exhale some air out of lungs. Now in yoga, they always say that in order to get more oxygen, to get more prana in your body, you must exhale twice the amount of you inhale. It's very difficult to exhale longer, but imagine, what do we do when we laugh? If I want to exhale longer, it's a hard work. Look at me. It's a lot of work, but it becomes much easier when you laugh. This is where the practice of laughter yoga exercises come in. So when you laugh a bit longer, you are able to exhale much of the residual air in your lungs, which is called expiratory reserve volume, so that when you inhale, you get more fresh air from the atmosphere, and this is how you get more oxygen. So if I want to increase my vital capacity, laughter yoga plays a very important role. Let me show you once again how I can make maximum use of my breathing capacity, that is called vital capacity, where you inhale the maximum amount of air into your lungs, and through laughter I can keep on laughing until I run out of breath, so that I can remove all the residual air from the lungs, so that the fresh air we get, which has more oxygen, and that increases the net amount of oxygen to your blood. Inhale. Let's have a look at the next graph. Now this is called residual volume. Normally the expiratory reserve volume is something between 1.2 to 1.5 liters. This is the amount of air which is residual air in the lungs, which can be force exhaled, so that we get rid of the stale air which has more carbon dioxide, and that is replaced by fresh air which has more oxygen. So this is the advantage of laughing. You can force exhale, and so that you get more oxygen. Let's have a look at this graph. This is called residual volume. After you force exhale the maximum amount of air until you run out of breath, there is always some air which remains in the lungs, which can never be removed and should never be removed. This is called residual volume. This is very necessary to keep the lungs inflated, otherwise they will collapse and lungs cannot function. Have a look at this final graph. This is called total lung capacity. Now if you see the inspiratory reserve volume, which is 2.5 liters, and the tidal volume which we inhale with the normal breathing, that is 0.5 liter, and expiratory reserve volume, which is about 1.5 liter, and the residual volume, which is 1.5 liters. So if you see, for both the lungs, the total capacity lungs can hold for an adult is about 6 liters of air. So just imagine, with 6 liters of capacity, we are using only 0.5 liters with each normal breath. So there is a large potential to exercise the lungs so that our body can get more oxygen flowing through the lungs.